Hey guys, welcome to Refrag Academy. Earlier, I showed you guys how to take mid control on Mirage. Now we're going in a bit more advanced. What can you do with that mid control? How do you progress from the position when you have connector control, when you have a guy A-ramp, or when you have a guy camping in BFs? It can be very, very difficult to take the next step, and that we will cover in this video. There'll be nades, there'll be different variations and different things, timings, etc. that you guys can do in order to get better chances at winning rounds. We'll also be uploading the training sets so you can go in on the server and test them out yourself. So as shown earlier, you should at this point have a guy close to connector or inside connector, which is very important if you want to do an A split. So let's just recreate a scenario that is very likely to going on in a game. You have smoked top connector and you now have top connector control, which means that in this case player 2 can call on his teammate, player 3, player 4, get with me inside connector, we want to do an A split. The B guy will then move all the way from B over to A, and you do a classic A split where you have 3 guys in connector and you have 2 guys outside A. The whole point of this strat is to sandwich the A bomb site, but you gotta do it with a timing. I think that makes it slightly easier. If you still have a smoke left in connector, maybe you haven't used it for window, go into this position and just bank a smoke like this so jungle is smoke. Because when you go out connector, one of the most dangerous things is that you have to crush jungle. So if you can smoke off jungle from connector, do that. You may be in a position, as we described before, where you don't have an extra smoke in connector. So you're basically standing 3 guys right here, and you're then dependent on your A player. Your A player who's been standing outside A, he hasn't used any of his utility yet. So he will be going into this position, he will be aiming right here, and he will be the one smoking jungle for you. But I will say that if you want to do an A split and you want to have any sort of success with it, you gotta make sure that jungle is smoked off so you can move up right here without having to worry about that. Now, another thing the A player will have to do is to take as much attention and drive it towards him as possible. So while you have 3 mates waiting right now, again, let's imagine that the smoke is top connector right now, you're communicating with your A player. You're saying, can you smoke jungle? He says yes. He's lining up the smoke for jungle. The second that smoke is lined up, he will also be standing with a flash from the exact same position, because he needs to take as much attention as possible. So he'll be flashing, asking the guys in connector, you ready? Yeah, we are. Flashing, boom. Everyone will now run up. Player 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sandwich in towards the A bomb side. You're gonna make sure to clear under balcony. You're gonna make sure to clear top balcony. You want to clear sandwich. You want to clear default. You want to clear noob corner. There's a lot of different positions to clear, so it's very important that you guys communicate as good as possible. I will argue that if you have smoked jungle like this, like I've shown before, the 3 guys coming up right here, it's their job to clear under balcony, top balcony. Whereas the 2 guys coming up right here, their job will be to clean towards CT spawn, clear default, and clear noob corner. But you gotta communicate, because if you don't communicate and one guy thinks that top balcony is clear while the other guy didn't even check, well, you're gonna be in deep, deep trouble. So this is where synergy comes into play. Now let's say that you pulled off the A split a couple of times. Now you want to pull off a B split, again from middle. You have mid control. Instead of going inside connector and taking connector, you want player 2, 3, and 4 to take catwalk control. You have one guy standing up here as shown earlier. He can be holding window, he can be holding over here. Meanwhile, you have 2 guys moving over catwalk. This smoke right here for top connector is not only important to take top connector control, but also very important to allow these 2 players to safely cross over. So again, wait for the smoke. At this point, nobody from A side can see if these 2 guys are walking over. This angle right here, very important to clear. Peek in like this just to make sure no one is holding you. If no one is, you're ready for the next step. Player 2, player 3 is waiting for player 4 to throw a flash inside right here. So again, it could be this guy. He's going to be the one throwing the top connector smoke. He will then move over to this position, of course, still holding and holding and holding and holding. Once player 2 and 3 is ready, player 4 over here will throw in a flash in towards ladder room. What that does is that now you can move into ladder room. You clear this, boom. Now you have this control. Then if you want to boost the player up here, he can be standing like this. He can be checking the close angles. He sees nothing. At this point, you're now ready to do the B split. So you have 3 players ready to come over catwalk, and you have 2 players ready from the B apps. As shown before, player B was here from the get-go. Player A would have rotated over here. That would be player 5 in this instance. Again, the B player haven't used any utility whatsoever. So what sort of utility can be helpful when you do a B split? And I would argue this smoke right here, where you move into this position, you jump through, and you smoke window, is very important when you want to do a B split. You put a smoke inside window like this, no one can hold catwalk. No one can help the B player from this position. You're forcing him to run out here and expose himself. So while the teammates in middle are getting ready to run over catwalk, the B player, or the A player for that matter, who haven't used their utility, go into this position, throw this smoke. Let's say that both player 5 and player 1 have a smoke left. You can also, from the exact same position, smoke door, So if you smoke window like that and you smoke door like this, then basically the B players is isolated. So you have 3 guys walking over catwalk coming in like this. They of course have to clear bench, they have to clear this angle, all these close quarter scenarios, but they don't have to worry about someone holding them from inside kitchen. So those 2 smokes are mega powerful. Furthermore, I'd say while this is going on, more utility that is very useful is that you definitely want to make sure to flash out over here. It can be flashing over the roof simply like this just to apply some bit of pressure. It can be the classic window flash like this. You gotta communicate to your teammates though, because if you're doing this flash from BFs, I've seen this happen so many times, and you're not telling your mates running over short like this, you're blinding your teammates. So you gotta tell them when you're flashing and how you're flashing when you come out of BFs. But those flashes can help you to get some space. You can also put a Molotov down towards car, another position you don't have to worry about. Or when you're coming out like this, you can Molotov out like this to make sure that bench is no longer an issue. But there's nothing worse for short players than a guy bench right here killing you. So those would be a couple of utility sets that you could do from the BFs while the 3 players are running over catwalk to do the B split. Now be aware, while you're attempting all these things, you may lose a player. You may lose a player in the process of taking mid control. You may have a guy on A who's losing his duel, or a guy on B that is losing his duel. Just make sure that even though you're 4 players alive, or even 3 players alive, doing something together will always be the better solution than trying to make something happen one by one. So in middle, when you do the B split, maybe you're not 3 guys coming over catwalk. Maybe you're just 2 guys, and that's fine. And maybe if you're only 2 guys alive middle, instead of the player A rotating all the way to BFs, he may come with you in middle. So you're still 3 guys coming over catwalk, but just 1 from BFs. That's where communication is very important. You gotta make up stuff on the fly. This is the basic of it, right? You want to do a B split, you want to do an A split, but you want to work on your communication, you want to work on your team play to make sure that you maximize your chances of winning the rounds by always playing together and having that refrag potential. Trust me, it's not easy, but it will definitely help if you continue to communicate at all times, and at the very least try to make it happen despite being a man or even 2-man down. So now that you know how to execute a B split and A split, you gotta make sure to check out the training sets. That way you can narrow down all the smokes, grenades, the timings, everything. You gotta dry run it on the server before you bring it into the game. It's not gonna be easy. It is advanced for a reason, but the more you practice, the better you'll be. So make sure to get it ironed out so you can win some more games on Mirage.